This is the final part of the defense's closing arguments, and then the prosecutor will come up for a rebuttal, but let's finish this. Let's talk about the government's choices. Out of all the possible people involved, they only brought in 2 of the escorts, the Punisher and Daniel Phillip. They could have called others, they could have offered immunity, but these are their witnesses. And neither of them admitted to being a prostitute. Let's think about this. If someone gets paid without having sex, they're being paid for their time, not for sex. And in Sean Combs' mind, that's legal. It would be an entirely different story if someone sat here and said, I had sex, and Sean Combs personally negotiated the deal, but no one did. I assume in every adult film, the actors are paid to have sex, and yet it's legal. So if he thought it was legal, that matters. Now, let's talk about racketeering. Turn to page 14 of the judge's charge. It says that for racketeering to apply, the enterprise, the group, must have an organization. And you're going to hear what that means. Only Sean Combs is on trial here. No one, not a single witness, sat in that chair and said, I was part of a racketeering enterprise. Not one. And this is the biggest disconnect in the entire trial. The greatest divide between what you've actually heard in this courtroom and what the prosecution claims happened. There's a gaping hole in their case, a complete lack of evidence to support the charge they've built this around. Let's be clear on one thing. They didn't charge racketeering. They charged a racketeering conspiracy. And to prove a conspiracy, they need at least one co-conspirator, but they don't have one. They're pointing at KK, but what does the evidence actually show? KK wasn't running a criminal enterprise. KK was helping. That's it. Carrie Morgan, their own witness, said she called KK and D-Rock, not because they were criminals, but because they were trusted, because they were helpful. This isn't a conspiracy. This is a stretch. If John Gotti were kicking in your door, would you call Sammy the Bull Gravano? No, he is a co-conspirator. There is only one trial. KK is not a co-conspirator. KK is a very nice person. There is no evidence that anyone is a co-conspirator. The firearms are not charged. Homeland Security cannot say where the pew-pews were. The Suge Knight story, it's not charged. Dawn Richard, remember her? Miss Westmoreland did the cross. Not charged. Yesterday, the government said in the videos, you don't see pew-pews, but he probably shouldn't keep videos with pew-pews in them. Is that fair? That's a little sinister. Why are they doing that? And it was Cassie who asked to be urinated on. At some point, you can ask, can I trust the prosecutors? It takes a lot of courage to acquit. I think that the evidence shows, and you can conclude, that the government targeted Sean Combs. I wouldn't say that if Cassie went to Homeland Security. America is great because between each citizen and the government, there is a jury. This is your house. I am asking you to summon your courage to do the right thing and acquit Sean Combs on all counts. He is not a racketeer. He is innocent. Let him go home to his family. Thank you. Now, they are going on a break before rebuttal, but the prosecutor is arguing that Mark Agnifilo shouldn't have said something that he said at the very end. The prosecutor told the judge he brought up conduct that hasn't been charged and said Mr. Combs was being targeted. We request curative instructions. The judge tells Diddy's attorney, Mr. Agnifilo, you should have phrased it differently, but you went on to focus on lack of conspiracy. Then the judge says, what about the targeting charge? How is that not improper? Diddy's attorney responds saying, no one went to law enforcement and complained. It's a fair comment. The prosecutor then responded saying, he said what he said. Targeted. It's improper. A curative instruction is required. They made the argument pre-trial and they lost. This was inappropriate. The judge responds, I intend to add something to the charge. They should focus on whether the government proved each charge beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecutor responded saying, we'd like it now. The judge said there's a bedrock law that these arguments to the jury are improper, so I'll give the instruction. Diddy's attorney says, we'd like it on Monday. The judge says, I'll do it when the jury comes back in 5 minutes. So yeah, this is where they're stopping. They're on a break. The prosecutor will be back up with rebuttal and I will let you know what was said.